Hey everybody, it's Amy and Cody here. The biggest change in my life hasn't been how much I've decluttered, it's been up here in my mind. So I wanted to share with you in case you're getting stuck, in case you are wondering how to begin this seemingly monumental task of changing your life around from overwhelmed and cluttered to more simple and enjoyable. You wanna get down? Okay. Now I'm gonna be cold, Cody. I'll make myself a cup of tea to keep me warm instead. Well, I don't know if you've been on your decluttering journey for very long. For me, it has been about 2 years of actually really dedicated focus on decluttering at least a grocery bag full a week, and I still got more to do. I was thinking about what made the biggest progress in my journey, so I wanted to share with you 5 steps that I think are really essential, that are really gonna make a big impact on your decluttering journey and help you go farther faster. Way back in one of my very first videos, you can kind of see me processing through several of these things that I'm going to mention today, and it pretty much shows me at ground zero when I decided that I'm not going to stay overwhelmed and stuck anymore. So I want to help you get unstuck too, if that's where you're at, or maybe help you just break down those few remaining barriers you might have in your mindset. So if you haven't already, you might want to get yourself a steaming cup of coffee or tea and join me over at the table with maybe a pen or a pencil and some paper. So the first thing that you want to do to get yourself on a road to success in your decluttering journey is clarify what you want with your life and your home. Maybe you've heard people talk about your why. Why are you motivated to do what you're going to do? What's going to keep you on track when things get tough? That's what we're writing now. So for number 1, I want a more peaceful home. I want a more calm, simple home that's welcoming for my family so that we'll want to spend time here. And guys, with the quarantine, what better time to make this happen, right? And I also want to feel like I have the time to be creative instead of feeling guilty because my house is a mess. Like maybe I should be cleaning instead of being creative. So besides peaceful home, I'm writing more time for creativity. And another thing that I really want in life is a feeling of freedom. If somebody calls me up and says, hey, I need a place to stay, I want to feel free to say, hey, I've got a room ready for you. It's not covered in junk and the doors kept closed. And I also don't want to feel like I have to work so hard in my daily life. I'm a homemaker, so I'm always going to be doing some housework or other. I want to make life easier on myself so I have more energy to be a positive person. Maybe you're like me and you have some health issues, and sometimes energy is just really limited. So let's cut out all of the extraneous stuff that gets in our way from enjoying our lives, and let's make our time count. I think by clarifying what you want in life, what you really value, you're going to much more easily be able to prioritize what matters to you when it comes to your physical possessions as well. The second thing that really helped me make big progress in my decluttering journey was defining who I am, who I was in the past, my fantasy self, and who I really am now. It's definitely clear to me working through all of these ideas has been really instrumental in bringing me to a better level and reduced my anxiety quite a bit, feeling more confident. At the time that I started decluttering, I just felt pretty stuck emotionally because I felt like I had lost who I'd been in high school. I felt like I was pretty creative and spontaneous and pretty easygoing. My past self didn't have kids and had quite a different style and outlook on life. Definitely was more of a maximalist. I loved thrift shopping. Having a lot of stuff surrounding me made me feel better. Today, I can't say that that's the case. When I look back at my craft room declutter, I would define myself as an overtired, overwhelmed mom who wasn't really having much fun in life. But today I'm going to define myself as a creative woman and mom who values setting goals and relaxing with my family. And that kind of leads me to my fantasy self. I want you to define your fantasy self too. So our fantasy self is who we want to be or wanted to be or just think we should be, but in reality, it's not gonna happen. So my fantasy self is someone who can sit down and embroider all day. I've got too much work to do. I'd rather paint, and I only do that every now and then. I have limited time. And my fantasy self was also someone who could say yes to everyone. Today I say no to a lot more, to have a simpler schedule, to feel less busy in order to take care of the things that really matter most to me, which is having a more peaceful home, being less stressed, and less cranky. Fantasy self can also involve your decor style. I used to have very Victorian, embellished, romantic kind of ideas of stuff, but then I had kids and that fine china and those collectible dolls and knickknacks did not fit in with having young toddlers. And the third mental step that you need to take is to identify the sources of your clutter. Now, I did talk a little bit about this in this video for you, but I just want to reiterate because it is really important. If you keep doing the same thing, you're going to end up in the same place. So I want you to consider, where is your clutter actually coming from? So at the beginning of my journey, I think a lot of my issues came from the anxiety of not really knowing how to manage my home, and then kids came along. So as a stay-at-home mom with a baby alone all day, sometimes what I would do is put the kid in the cart and go out shopping. And, grocery shopping and couponing, feeling like a rush of adrenaline anytime that you scored a good deal. I would go to the clearance rack of stores, and also I think I was avoiding the housework and the mess at home because it just seemed so overwhelming. So maybe you also do a little bit of retail therapy, and maybe reconsidering that, seeing if it serves you well, would help you reduce what comes into your home. Another thing is that I was a people pleaser, and I couldn't say no to when my friend wanted to give me stuff. I still struggle with that. Everybody loves a freebie, right? But I have a higher criteria for what I keep, and it needs to be something I need, and I try to use the 1 in, 1 out rule. Something that kept me so stuck, thinking of the value of the item that I purchased, rather than recognizing that that money is spent and I'm never gonna get it back again. I know growing up in my family, we really valued frugality, and we still do. I like to save money and feel like I'm a wise steward of my money, but I don't feel like the monetary value of something is more important than, say, the extra space in my home, the feelings of peace, and me being able to be calmer by getting rid of the stuff that's in my way that I'm tripping over. And the fourth thing is to plan. Plan how you're gonna overcome your particular struggles. So educating yourself is a great part of planning how to overcome your clutter. That is really where I started, watching YouTubes, reading books, listening to podcasts. That really helped me to think through how I'm going to conquer my clutter. So if you're watching this, you're doing that right now. You're kind of coming up with a way to approach your stuff. And I'll link to some of my favorites in the description box below for you if you want some more resources that can really get you excited about a new way of life and reduce that overwhelm you might be feeling, right? One of the people that I kind of follow on YouTube to help me have a better plan of attack for the crud in my home is the Clutter Fairy. In one of her episodes, which I'll link below, she talked about being clutter blind. And that's something that in the beginning, I definitely was. I didn't realize how claustrophobic it made my husband feel, and I didn't realize that I was kind of using stuff to block out all the busyness up here that I didn't really want to deal with. So in this episode, the Clutter Fairy talked about how she feels like a lot of times people use their clutter to deal with their overwhelm, because if you have stuff around you, you're just kind of, it's like an excuse that your mind is making to not deal with things. And we have to overcome that, and we have to clear the clutter blindness. So I'm kind of a really black and white person, and for me to be able to deal with my clutter, I kind of went to the, I'm gonna be a minimalist approach. Now, I think I'm always going to be somebody who has a lot of stuff around me, but compared to what I used to have, it's going to be a lot less. There's going to be space on the walls in between pictures, which was not how it was before. And it's a really stark contrast to the old me, where I wanted to collect more. Now I've reached the point where I'm like, no more, I'm not collecting anymore. I'm only going to have what I really, really like and love. And now I can actually see the things that I don't use, that I don't really like, and that I don't need to keep out of guilt or obligation, right? So besides educating yourself, having a plan of action, like maybe doing these Declutter 5 Things challenges with me, can help you start to get that momentum going in your home. And now the fifth and final thing I want you to take away from this video is, to steal the words of a fish, just keep swimming, keep moving, keep incrementally making progress. It doesn't matter how long you spend on decluttering, as long as you're doing some, it's gonna get easier and easier for you. You're gonna get better at it. You'll have less decision fatigue because your mind is gonna start thinking of rules like 1 in, 1 out. If it takes 30 seconds, do it right away. If it takes a minute, do it right away. You'll get better and better at practicing these, and I know you're gonna have success. I hope you've gotten a lot out of this food for thought. If you haven't already, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Otherwise, they don't always show up on your YouTube page when you first open it up. I aim to post a new video every Friday. And if you know a family member or a friend who is also on a decluttering journey, please share this video with them so that you can build up your enthusiasm and encourage your tribe. I'd love it if you'd be part of my tribe and subscribe below. Well, we've done a lot of thought work today. If you still want to do some actual hands-on decluttering, click this playlist, or YouTube thinks you'd enjoy this video. So the fifth and